Okay, then now that we have our music edit, and I noticed that when I create my sequence, it created in the music bin. So I'm going to just click over here and drag it down, grab the sequence, and drag down to NY Cuts, and now it's my cuts bin. All right, the Empire State of Mind song is a little bit different. It's hip hop. So let's see. All right, I'm going to do. You only have to do one. I'm going to just do a second one. So rather than rebuild this whole sequence and everything, I'm going to click on my NY Stills Cut 1 sequence and go up to my edit menu up top and go to duplicate. It will now make a copy of this NY Stills Cut 1. If I double click on it, it'll load it up here, and you can see I have two tabs now, Cut 1 and Cut 1 Louis Copy 01. So I'm going to change this copy 01, get rid of that, and I'm going to just call this cut 1A because that's my alternate music cue. And I'm going to load up Empire State of Mind. It's I'm go in on that. This one's a little bit easier to edit because the beats are much more specific, if you should, more defined, perhaps. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to cut the intro down. Okay. Mark it in and out. Apostrophe. Yeah. Oops, that's like an extra beat. Yeah. How about if I took that out? To jump to the splice, I just hit the up arrow, jump, and I'm marking in there. This could be butchering it, but let's. Okay, I'll buy that. Okay, so go through this, and he has a lot of verses. I'm sure you can cut complete verses out. In fact, you can cut several verses out. But where it gets interesting is when Alicia Keys starts singing. Okay, here we go. Concrete jungle where dreams are made of. Marking in. I know she's going to repeat that near the end. There it is. Try that. Get rid of that whole chunk. Let's see what we get here. Okay, it's a little bit off, plus a couple of times to get in there. Oops, lost my spot. Where it is. Okay, there's the edit. Plus, 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 plus. Okay. Okay, I think I missed a beat there. Four-headed arrow, double click, go up top here. On the right side, I'm going to add one frame before where I am at right now. That sounds better. Okay, so that's an edit, but the song is still a little bit too long. It comes out 2:05. You got to cut another 30 seconds out of that. You guys have to figure that out. Cut it down to a minute and a half or less, and then we can start building from there. Okay. So now let's deal with the pictures. Let me go back to my first music cut. Now, let's just play with this first. I'm going to choose 162, the two girls at Times Square. So it's a vertical shot, And my premise here is that, yes, it's vertical because that's what the buildings in most of New York is vertical, at least from the ground up. So I want to put the shot in. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to just hit the period, toss it in. The default for this is 5 seconds. It's just how stills are brought in. You can change that default. Can we extend the shot? Let me see. I believe I can. Yeah, I can extend it. But the in and out mark that it gives you initially is just 5 seconds. If you need more than that, you definitely have more than that. But it's just a default in and out mark that it gives you. Okay? And how I know it's 5 seconds? Because right here, the white number is 5. It's just a static shot of the girls there. Okay? It just defaults putting it there. Now to change this, and we're going to animate this and learn how to keyframe this, I'm going to double click on the clip that is on my timeline right here. Double click on it. I see it turns white when it's selected, and it loads it back into the left window. Once you do that, now you have control over this by hitting Effect Control tab up here. Once you do that, then you have all bunch of things that you can play with. The first thing up top says Motion, and you drop down Disclosure Triangle, and it has parameters for position and scale, rotation, anchor point, anti-flicker, and a bunch of then you have opacity and time remapping. So just to do this very simple keyframing, you click on this little box here first. You realize that then it activates the picture, and you have this little target in the middle, and you got these blue lines on the outside, which shows you the entire frame of the picture, okay? Or the raster, which we call it. It's kind of like that's how big this whole thing is. And so if I grab this, I can move it around. I can reposition it. But now, being a vertical shot, and there it is, the top blue line is the top of the picture. I want to expand this and fill out so there's no black borders. So I'm going to increase the scale. Where I hover my mouse over where it says scale and 100%. Notice that when I hover my mouse over the number, you get the finger and the two little arrows. And when you see that, then you click on your mouse button, and then as you drag it to the right, as you can see, the scale goes up, and on the right side, the picture increases. One more time. Dragging to the left reduces the scale. Dragging to the right increases the scale. So now I am filling out the whole borders. The assignment on this one is to make sure you don't show any black borders on these pictures. Now, it's a little sometimes hard to see where the edge of your picture frame is. So down here where it says Fit, I'm going to click on that and go down to, say, 25% maybe? Oh, it has to be smaller than that. Okay, this is a little bit too small. Be nice to, can I make it, I can't dial a custom number. But anyway, your frames might be a little bit different than mine. So maybe 25 will work for. I just want to see the outer edges of what I'm working with, so I can do this, hit the scale, and go up just a little bit, so I can see that these blue things are outside my picture window. So okay, I'm going to start at the top of the picture, and when at the beginning of the sequence, the first 5 seconds, I want to tilt down to reveal the girls. So this is my start position, my start frame, if you will. To save all these settings, which you can see here on the left, I have position at these numbers. The first number is your x-axis, and the next number is your y-axis. You don't have to memorize these numbers or do anything based on it. It just tells you what you have. I click this little thing that says, it looks like a little stopwatch on the left, the word position, and that now activates my keyframe capabilities. It puts a keyframe at the first frame here. I go down to scale and turn on that one also while I'm at it. Now, here's the most tricky part. So we've zoomed in, we've repositioned the picture, we've scaled it up and positioned what I call the start frame. On my timeline down here, I am the first frame of my 5 seconds. I move the playhead down to the last frame, and notice that this blue thing up here is the same thing. Now I'm at the 5 seconds later in my timeline, or 4:17 according to this little, let me zoom in on my timeline. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to put this much closer to the edge. There it is. 4:23, okay, out of 4:24. So now I'm at the end part of the clip, and let's see, I've lost my, okay, there it is. Okay, so I click that little button again and I see it. Now I move the picture up to review the girls. I don't want to center them up because now it's a little bit, well, I do want to center them up, but notice that now I have this black edge on the left side because the picture was not framed dead center. So now I'm going to increase the scale just a little bit more, and that way they kind of get equal framing, if you will, these two girls. Okay, I don't want to go all the way to there because then it'll cut off the head of the left girl. And somewhere right about, let's just say, right there. Okay, so whatever my last position is of movement and positioning, it records the two keyframes, which you can just barely see the edge of here. You don't have to set those in. You set the first two ones, and then once you move over time, it records it. Now I can move it like this, and these numbers will stay. That'll be the end thing, or I want this. The last time you touch it, the last time you position it, is what the end thing would be. Now notice this little blue line down the middle here. That just indicates that you have movement now. So now what I would do on my timeline is go to the first frame and hit and I'll put this back to fit so I can see it better. And I hit the space bar. Okay, there it is. So the opening position, which was the top of the picture, which shows the cup of noodles, the end position, the 5 seconds later, are this repositioning of what the girls look like. To get from first point to the second point, it has to move. Therefore, now we have created animation. Turn down the music a little bit. Okay. But then I said, well, okay, wait a minute. I want to get there and hold there for a moment. Can I extend the picture? Yeah, I can extend the picture on the timeline. Just grab it. And now we have this. Stop and holds it. Now, why does it keep moving down? Because the keyframe, as you can see up here on my little mini timeline up here, can I make this bigger? A little bit. It stops. And so anything after this, it doesn't move anymore. If I want to say, in this case, move it all the way down and extend it to here, musically speaking. Okay. Now, let's grab another picture. Oh, let's take a bridge shot. Love these bridges. How about this one? Okay. Is that the Brooklyn Bridge? I think it is. Let's throw that on the timeline. You have to throw it in the timeline by hitting the period. Go to the first frame of the bridge. Again, one more time. Double click on it first. You have to double click on it to activate it. Go into Effect Controls. Click this little box, and then I can move this around. So let's do something different here. I want to zoom in. Okay, I want to see enough. Position this so it fills water. I open up the Motion tab, turn on Position Scale by clicking these little stopwatches, and also Rotation. I'm going to try 3 compound moves, if you will. So I like, okay, it looks a little crooked. I'm going to rotate left just a little bit. There it goes. Now it looks like that's more vertical, does it not? Now I'm going to go to the last frame. So go in time first, and then change the picture. I'm going to zoom in, go up to the tower here, zoom in a little bit more, right there. And I'm going to give it a little bit of an attitude with a rotation. Let's go this way. Just do something different. Okay? So that's my end position. I start at the beginning, which is right here, full wide, and I straighten it up a little bit. Then I say at the end of 5 seconds, I want it to be, how about like right there? Okay, perfect, I say. So I go back down my timeline down here, watch, and hit play. It goes from your first position frame to your end position frame, and whatever it takes to get there, it does it, and it's kind of a nifty move. Okay? That's all you do. Now, here comes the best part. let's overlap these two down here. I got this bridge shot. Grab it, move it over here on top. Okay, turn off snapping because it wants to snap. Okay, there it goes. I don't know what the overlap is, but either way. So now this overlap, the one on top is the one that I'm going to fade in. So I double click on that again, go to Effect Controls, and now go down to Opacity. Opacity. So at the beginning of this bridge shot, I mark a keyframe. And then down here, I mark it to the end of the overlap, or right before the end of it, overlap the shot of the girls. And I set and I can set another keyframe, or better yet, I'm going to just double click or click on the 100. No, wait, I'm sorry, I'm doing this backwards. I apologize. I set the second one. This is when the bridge should be fully in. Go back to my first keyframe and change that to 0%. So in other words, as we go from the girls, the bridge is going to fade in. Okay, that is a little too quick. Okay, so, right? Yeah, that was too quick. So, okay, so here on the top layer, make sure you click on the right one. Okay, wait. Right, the opacity here, Effect Controls. I'm going to set this keyframe here. This is where it should be 100%. Wait, okay, I am confusing myself and you. I'm going to close the motion one. Look at opacity, and this original keyframe, which was here, is too early. So I'm going to move this and just drag it over. Do you see what I just did there? Let me undo that. It was here before, so the distance between the first keyframe and second keyframe fairly close. I'm literally moving it over, which now says it's going to take a longer time to get from 0% opacity, which is not seeing the bridge, to all the way 100% bridge, and the more distance between the two keyframes is a slower transition. Here we go, from the beginning. Okay, so that's the transition. And do you need to fade the girls out? Not necessarily, because we're fading up on the bridge, but if you want to, you can do that also. It depends how it feels. I think because they're brighter than the bridge, they seem to, it's harder to get rid of them. So I'm going to double click on the girls, go to Effect Controls, and open up opacity down here. And right about here where the overlap starts, I'm going to set a keyframe. And over here, they should be completely gone. So I go down to 0% and see if this makes it better or worse. That helps this specific situation. Now suppose I want this bridge shot a little bit longer, so I extend it, and I want it to keep moving, but it stops early because that's where it was originally. So again, double clicking on that to make sure I have the right clip selected, and here's the motion thing. Again, here's the original keyframes, which if you open it up, it shows that there are multiple keyframes. But when it's closed like this, it's one big dot. Can I just move all? No, I guess not. I thought you could move the whole thing. I'm standing corrected. You got to move each one. So I select them all and move them all over. I just corralled them with my mouse. And so now, because this is a slower song, I want slower transitions. Okay. All right, so that, and to do the next one, I'll put it down here so they keep kind of like overlapping each other. Start spreading the news. Okay, this is a pretty dramatic shot. Okay, I'm going to put that on V1. And actually, it's easier to do it out in the open here first. Okay. So one more time, double click on it, Effect Controls, open up my Motion tab, click on this little thing, and I can move it, make sure that I'm moving around. Let's scale this up quite a bit. And I'm going to start at the bottom and move up. This 30 rock. Once I have my opening position, I hit the stopwatch on left for position and scale. And then I go to the end of the shot. And I'm going to tilt all the way up. Oops. If it kind of sticks on you, like you can't let go of the thing, just click your mouse and then move the mouse and it'll fix that. I'm going to extend this a little bit longer too, because I think generally speaking, okay, there it is. And move my keyframe there. So let's check the move first. Good. Okay, so now I put that underneath. Let's see here what my, oops. Okay, that's about equivalent overlapness. In this case, double click the top one because you always look from top down. So I don't fade in the bridge. I mean, the Rockefeller shot, I fade out of the bridge since it's on top. So again, double click on that, make sure, oops, double click on that. Put my playhead there, go to opacity, set the first one, which is at 100, and get to the end of the shot, and then I change the 100 to 0, enter, and this is what we get.
Start spreading the news. You're leaving today. Tell me.
Okay. All right, so when you play with that, you learn some basic stuff and see how you can keyframe this, all right?